Doors is one of the greatest Roblox horror games on the platform. It has awesome yet terrifying enemy design, really good jump scares, eerie environments, and unpredictable gameplay. Or at least it was. Well, if you clicked on this video, you probably agree with me. Doors isn't scary anymore. But why? Have we all just grown up, or is it something else? Well, I'll be diving into that today and trying to figure out that exact question. If this sounds interesting at all, I know it's a lot to ask, but if you like or even subscribe, it would mean so much to me. Let's start by talking about what makes this game scary in the first place. Let me ask you something. Do you remember the first time you played Doors? For me, it was a few weeks after the game's release, before any updates came out. I had no idea what this game was until I stumbled across it. Keep in mind, I've never played many horror games before this, so I had no idea what this game would be like. When you open the game, it greets you with multiple warnings that made you feel uneasy. And when you load into the lobby, it seems normal at first, until you realize there's nothing out the front door, and this weird blocked off area with sea guys. Eventually, you'll make your way into one of the elevators, and you're greeted with the awesome elevator music, which is pretty much a polar opposite for what you're about to experience. The game doesn't start off too crazy, and you're just sort of walking around in a hotel. A rather creepy hotel at that, but nothing too bad. Until you encounter your first entity. Whether it's eyes or rush, or you know what, that's like all the entities you're going to be experiencing at that time, but still. During the many rounds you play, you'll die to a ton of different monsters and entities, and you'll learn more and more about them. Until eventually you beat the game, and it feels amazing. A lot of that happiness you're feeling is probably relief because of what you just had to go through and the crazy intense moments, especially if it's the first time you did that thing, which makes it more than twice as scary and more than twice as intense. Also, some of these jump scares in these games are really good and don't just scare you for a moment like a lot of jump scares do in games, but they'll leave you on edge and they'll make you feel that there's no way to be safe, for sure, in this hotel. But sadly, the fear factor for this game does wear off, which brings us to today and our problem for you guys, that Doors isn't scary anymore. So let's get into the why, and then later, since I'm not just going to do this to say Doors is not a scary game, we're going to give a few things that Doors could do to make it more scary. The most logical thing that has happened is we've just got older. Keep in mind this game is over 2 years old. We also could have just gotten used to the jump scares. The jump scares don't change every time, and some of these events don't change all the time, so it kind of makes it a little bit repetitive, even with the randomly generating rooms and random monsters. Another, but way bigger reason is that Doors and L-Splash added a lot of fun things, like the admin panel and ranked mode, which gives you a lot of exposure to things that are supposed to be scary but aren't. Like certain jump scares from Screech or Rush, especially because ranked mode is super fast paced and the jump scares just don't really hit the same, especially because of the super loud and awesome music. Also the admin panel, which lets you have all the items, yes, with a cost of 300 Robux, which I'm gonna say is a really great price for that. But you get to spawn all the entities and everything that could be scary, and you just get to see a lot of the jump scares and creepy parts a lot easier without being in a way that you would have to die and restart. Now, for something that's in a vanilla game mode, is the game over time has added so many more helpful items, like the clock that gets figure away for a certain amount of time, the crucifix, which is a really big one, and it allows you to kill pretty much every single entity. And if you can't fully kill them, it stops them for a good amount of time as well. These items make you feel quite a bit more secure, and so that you're not always an edge of dying to a different entity. Earlier, I was praising the game's lobby for being really good, but ever since a lot of the recent updates, a lot of flashier things have been added, like the new UGC area where it's glowing. Also, now you can show off badges, which adds a lot more color to the screen, which yes, is a good thing. I love that you can show off badges. I'm not saying that any of these things are bad, but these are just reasons that Doors are less scary now. Also, with recent updates, the game has been getting a lot harder, especially with the mine. And the game being harder doesn't necessarily make it scarier, and in some cases, it could just be somewhat frustrating or repetitive, because if you die to something because it's hard many times, you'll have to redo it many times, making you more immune to any fear that you would have gotten from that section because you have to do it so much. Trust me, I know that's the point of the game. When you die, you learn a little bit more, and that's good. But if you die way too many times and you already know everything about the entity, it'll just get annoying dying to it that many times. Or maybe it's just because not enough updates are actually adding scary or tense moments to the game. Maybe it's just some of the more recent updates haven't been focusing as much on what makes the game scary and more of what makes the game fun to play, instead of adding slower, creepier, and darker moments to the game, which would make it a lot scarier in my opinion. But the last thing that could be going on is that you've just played too much. You've gotten way too good at doors that nothing in it scares you, and you've had somewhat of overexposure to everything that could be creepy in the game. Possibly you've seen every entity, every room, beat every floor, and have almost, if not all, the achievements possible to get in the game. And that, paired with all the other reasons that I've just stated earlier, that's why Doors doesn't feel scary anymore. But here, I don't like just criticizing things without saying how I would make it better and how you could make said problem better. So, how would I make Doors scarier? So all the ideas that I'm going to give in this section are going to be for a theoretical update about making the game scarier. With the first change to be to add, terrifying lore. When you think about it, FNAF, yes, it's scary, but when you learn the lore, it's 10 times worse. So if they could do that in a cool storytelling way where you might have to go into secret side rooms with a skeleton key or some lockpicks, for example, where you learn about the lore, and then as soon as you go into this room, some weird creepy ambience noise starts playing. I don't know, this is just a weird idea I had. And with this creepy lore thing, it doesn't get less scary the more you learn about it. It will actually get more scary because the more you understand it, the creepier and creepier it is. Also, just adding in slightly rare and random creepy and slower moments that can just shake up the gameplay and make it so it's not something that you see every single round and get super used to, but something that still has a lot of work put into it, even though it doesn't happen every single time. For example, a random idea I had is you walk through a room where, for some reason, the player's really slow, and they see Sally looking through the window and going through different windows. All of them start to break, the lights spark out, and there's a jump scare, but nothing actually happens. Those types of moments are something that I've always wanted for Doors to add that would just make it a lot scarier, and there could be 3 or 4 events that can happen rarely and would just make it creepier. To counteract the problem that I was talking about earlier about there being too many helpful items is that they can add items that have more downsides, with the downsides being some entity comes more or something scary, and I'm saying that word a lot, happens. And my final idea that I have is if they want to make the game harder, they can do it similar how the Foundation did it. So if the developers want to add a section to the game that's really hard, what they want to do is make the punishment not as bad. Like Foundation, if you die in door 50, then you get sent to a cage and lose a little bit of health and play a minigame. If they do that, you have less of a chance to die and less of a chance for it to become frustrating, which in return makes the game less scary. But that's pretty much all I have to say. I can't believe you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thank you. Seriously. And I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have an impeccable day. And goodbye.